these are the guys I want you guys to trade for this week 7 of fantasy football. So I got Raachad White here, who has been a disappointment. I get it, but a lot of fantasy owners are pretty sad and pretty like they just want to get rid of him. We did a hack my lineup last week. That I saw somebody drop Raachad White, and that just kind of shows like how frustrated fantasy managers are. So I think you can get him for free, basically. I mean, he is on waivers in some leagues, even. So when I say for free, yeah, sometimes depending on what league you're on, he's going to cost a little bit more. But I think that you got a realistic shot for getting this guy for next to nothing. So go get Raachad White if you can get him for free. Jerome Ford. All right. I think you can get him also for free. Maybe a little bit harder to get than Raachad White. Not really, though, I guess. I mean, depends on what price you're paying. The price will vary. So I think Jerome Ford fantasy managers, because I have him in about 2 leagues. I think that Jerome Ford fantasy managers are a little bit scared of Kareem Hunt. I know I am. That's my emotion. Like, oh man, a little bit worried about Kareem Hunt. But Jerome Ford getting about 50% of the snaps, Kareem Hunt about 38% of the snaps. Which one looks fresher, younger, better? Even though Kareem Hunt looked good and didn't look much worse than Ford, I think Ford looked a little bit better. And I think he has a great matchup. So if you're going to get him only for a very cheap price and get him now before the Browns play the Colts, which is a great matchup. And after that, the price will go up. Remember, I'm not like a typical trade guy. Like, I don't trade just to trade. We're only going after guys that I can get for a super discount. So the first guy is Raachad White. This guy's Jerome Ford. Now we're getting into more tricky levels here. So Rhamondre Stevenson, this one you can only get from a fantasy manager that's very emotional and just fed up, maybe in a 10-team league or something, because Rhamondre Stevenson is not really that great. And he did just finally have one good game where, this would have been a lot easier to get a week earlier. But I was looking at the matchups. They're not really that bad. Just kind of like Josh Jacobs. I'm not a big believer in Josh Jacobs, but he has some matchups where it's like, the guy's going to be all right. Some soft matchups, some matchups where the Raiders can actually win games. Those are the matchups where Josh Jacobs could do good. And I'm looking at Rhamondre Stevenson's matchup. Like 2/3 of the time, I'm like, okay, Rhamondre Stevens, it's going to be hard for him not to do something and get double-digit fantasy points. But then again, I don't love him. 1/3 of the matchups aren't good. He is risky, and he is on one of the absolute worst. They could be the worst offense in the league. So I'm not really trying to trade for him. But if there's a stupid emotional owner, fantasy owner that just wants to get rid of him, that's when I swoop him and I get him for cheap.